Let's go ahead and turn to music now, but that gives us the big picture.
Yes.
Because what we're going to find out is music is also here for the same two reasons. First of all, music is here to glorify God, and music is here to bring pleasure to people. That seems simple.
I enjoy music.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Where did music come from? Where did music come from? Did God create music? Would there be music if there weren't people? What do you think?
In a very generic sense, I would say yes.
Mm-hmm.
I would have to say, the wind sweeping across the prairies creates a music.
Mm-hmm.
The crickets in the field and the birds in the trees, they're all making music.
What's more, God says that the morning stars at creation, in Job he says, the morning stars sang together. Now that stars means shining ones, so it could refer to angels. In any case, whether it's the music of the spheres or the music of the angels, we might say there is music in heaven. There was music in heaven. There will be music in heaven.
There will be.
Like a revelation, right? But is music also man's invention? I think so.
I think it's pretty safe to say so.
So God created music, and He set it in man's heart to create music ourselves. And so we bring God glory when we learn to create music.
Mm-hmm.
And so we find from Jubal and his kin on, man has also created music. Part of God's nature is to be creative, and when we are creative, we give Him glory by creating music ourselves.
Indeed.
All right, well, there's the big picture. Now we're kind of sweeping in and zeroing in on music itself. Let's talk about what music is. After all, this is music theory.
Yes,
Music theory.
We should know what music is before we can figure out what the theory behind the music is.
So what is music? Music is
Music.
something that makes sound.
But then again, if music is just something that makes sound, everything becomes music, and
Oh, that's true.
Really,
so that would be
nothing
like a
is-
definition of noise and everything else.
we'll
And
go
our
with
definition
noise.
doesn't go with anything. Okay, so it's a little more specific than that. Let's say music is pitches. Pitches. Intentional.
Oh, intentional pitches.
Intentional pitches.
we're
Okay,
getting-
so
that's
it's
like
human created, intentional
intentional pitches. That's like an intentional walk.
It is like an intentional
Yeah.
walk, because everything comes back to baseball, as you
Baseball.
will find out
Yeah.
through this course. In any case, let's see. So intentional pitches. So it's human created.
Mhm.
It's pitches
Yes.
that unfold through time.
Okay, time.
Because
That's
otherwise,
important.
everything would happen at the same time, and time is the thing that prevents everything from happening together. So it unfolds through time, and it has some sort of an abstract communication or some sort of a meaning. Music must have meaning, or I suppose it has no meaning.
You got a point there.
Yeah. It tells some kind of story or sets some sort of mood, but without words, communication is abstract, but it's still saying something.
Mhm.
I think we can illustrate that. Sometimes music sets a certain mood. We've culturally identified that, but nonetheless, when you hear this, what do you think of?
I think happy thoughts.
Happy thoughts.
Happy
Maybe a
thoughts.
morning.
Morning.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And that's what you were supposed to think, because that's what Edvard Grieg wanted you to think of
Mhm.
at that moment. You might say that music is made up of certain elements: melody, harmony, rhythm, form, and created by different instruments, and so therefore has different timbre
timbre,
or
yeah.
sound. Now, if music has meaning or tells a story, what is that story? How do we know what that story is? I think the answer is it's culturally communicated. We have certain conventions in our culture that tell us, like, this means that. This sounds like this. So here are some of those psychological conventions that are dictated to us by culture. Take a
Okay.
look. We set up an expectation, and then we fulfill it.
Shaving a haircut, 2 bits.
Sometimes we set up an expectation,
Having a haircut.
And because of timing, we don't fulfill.
Yeah.
Or
No, it's. How would you just do it the right way?
oh.
Yeah. All right.
So we set up a certain series of expectations, and we either fulfill those or we give a surprise. And we're going to find that's what music is on a very basic level. In the next lesson, we'll get into some of the particulars of music theory.